right, everybody. I am going to do a video here which critiques. I follow this guy. I don't know why I follow this guy. His channel is Heresy Financial. His name is Joe Brown. Seems like a nice guy, but and he's got like 178,000 subscribers to his YouTube channel, and I mean, most of the time, the stuff he talks about is just completely. This is the classic, you know, propagating wrong information, not understanding. But I get it. Like, this is what most people believe in. And so, in this particular video that I'm going to comment on, he's talking. He's talking about the difference between like money printing and government borrowing. So like, they're both the same. I mean, it's like the same thing, all right? There's no such thing as borrowing. But anyway, we're going to go through this. And I hate attacking people. It's not my thing. But like, I don't know. I just feel like you got to put out, I feel like compelled to put out the right information. So here we go. So we're going to start off with this guy's video right now, okay?
What is the difference between the Federal Reserve printing money and the U.S. government borrowing money?
All right, let me start off right here. The United States government, as a sovereign nation, is the monopoly issuer of the U.S. dollar. Okay? And the Federal Reserve is a creation of Congress. I don't need this. Let me take this off. And it is required every year to even give its profits back to the Treasury. Right now it's running at negative cash flow, but it could even do that. Like, okay, it prints money. So there's no distinction. And by the way, all of the FOMC, the people who run the Fed, who make the decisions, they all have to be nominated by the president and confirmed by Congress. All right. So it's not like, I know a lot of people want to say the Fed is independent and blah, blah, blah. And it's this like shadowy thing. But I mean, it's not, okay? It's like a branch of the government, even though we try to think of it as like, okay, we made this thing to be like separate to deal with the monetary situation. So I just want you guys to understand that right now, like when he talks about, okay, here are different distinctions going on in terms of government finance, he's wrong on that right from the very beginning.
And if there is a difference, should we prefer one over the other? Given all the discussion lately about the debt ceiling, the arguments about it, the arguments to just eliminate it and allow the government to continue borrowing an unlimited amount, and the Federal Reserve potentially having to step in and print the money for that, the lines can get kind of blurred as to what is printing, what is borrowing whenever the government spends.
Okay, so now he gets into like, should we just be cool with the fact that let's just let the government borrow as much as it wants and keep on borrowing? Like, borrow what? Borrow dollars? The United States government is the monopoly issuer of the dollar. Okay? Already mentioned that before. I mean, borrow dollars from whom? Do the Chinese create dollars? Do the Japanese create dollars? Do we create our own dollars? Even banks. Let's talk about banks, because some of you have said, well, you know, the banks create credit, and that credit is a claim on US dollars. Like if a bank gave me a loan for 20,000 and I went to the bank, now I want that loan, I want it in cash. They have to have that cash, and it can only come from one place. And if they don't have that 20,000, they have to borrow it. The Fed provides it, the government provides it. So like this idea that should we just let the government keep on borrowing? I mean, this is so, I mean, think about it. Why do you need to borrow what you can create without limit? Isn't that a simple question? He doesn't seem to ask himself that question.
So I'm going to break down for you the 3 types of government income that are even possible, how it funds its expenses, and then you'll be able to see which one.
And here he goes again with this notion of the government needs income. Income, like this is again conflating, like our situation or the situation of a household with the situation of a sovereign government that creates currency. There's no need for income. I mean, come on, man.
Let's start off with taxes. Taxes are very clear. You get your paycheck, you see some of it has gone out from the paycheck, and it goes to the US government. They just take it from multiple sources and they get it right into their checking account, and they can spend that on whatever they're spending their money on.
Okay, here we go with the taxes shit again. And I've done a number of videos on this. And I know it feels like, we're giving our money to the government. But there's a... All right, let me... We pay our taxes in dollars. Even if you write a check to the IRS, your bank's reserve account, which is dollars, is debited. Okay, it's not that piece of paper check. It's like there's literally dollars in the system, and I'm just talking about they're like, it's like virtual. It's like, it's just like numbers. They're debited. Okay, we cannot even pay our taxes in dollars until the dollars are put into the economy first. It's like, and I've said this before, you can't drain a swimming pool until you fill it up with water first. The water has to be put there in order for you to drain the swimming pool. So this idea that, like, I don't know, we get our taxes or our dollars what, from the moon, from China, and then we give it to the government so it can spend. No, it has to put the dollars into the economy first so we can earn them and then give some back in the form of taxes.
Okay, so the second type of income for a government is through borrowings.
All right, here we go again. So it's like borrowing what? Borrowing what the government has already put into the system? Is that borrowing? It's like saying, I'm borrowing the water in the swimming pool that was already put into the swimming pool. Imagine a swimming pool that was empty. Because this is really like what he's trying to say is like, the government needs that water. And we provide the water. No, we don't. The government puts the water into the swimming pool. And then people decide to, hold those dollars in the form of a government security, which pays them some interest. There's no borrowing. Why would anyone? Oh man, this drives me crazy, but like, you don't need to borrow what you can create without limit as a sovereign nation.
If we stop right there, there's no inflation as a result of taxes or borrowing.
Okay, now this part is very important to understand. And it's very important to understand the distinction and also the kind of, I don't know, just kind of like mythologically embraced misinformation about this, about government spending equating to inflation automatically, like axiomatically, that's what's going to happen. If you are a capitalist, which I think most people are, then government spending induces the private sector to create more goods and services. So, there's this equation that monetarists love, MV equals PQ, where, you got the money supply on one hand, you got the price level on the other. And it's just assumed that if the money supply goes up, prices are going to go up. The problem with this assumption is that these four variables are variables. So if an increase in spending leads to more supply, like the capitalist system reacts to the demand for more, the need for more goods and services, and it produces it, the prices don't go up. As a matter of fact, they could even go down. That's number one, the first thing I want to say. The second thing I want to say, where he gets it wrong, is like he said, okay, if you borrow, if you tax, everything stays the same. No. When the government spends, and if it spends more than it takes away, it adds to the financial balances of us. Pretty easy to understand. Okay? If the government spends, I don't know, $1 billion, and it taxes us 500 million, we're left in our balances with 500 million. If the government spends $1 billion and taxes us $1.5 billion, we are negative 500 billion. Okay? So the government can spend whatever it wants. It's its money. It's their money. We need that money to pay taxes at the very least, and hopefully maybe to save something, because, I don't know, that's our system. We don't have, free stuff, healthcare, education. So when we retire, when we get old, we're going to need some money. So there's a savings propensity. We need it.
And this, which is the federal national debt, which has obviously skyrocketed to the tune of $31 trillion.
All right, this is the last thing I'm going to talk about, because honestly, I'm getting pissed off just critiquing this video. I'm getting fucking pissed off. And of course, where is he going to end on? The fucking national debt, which is bullshit. There is no debt. Everything has been paid for. What that national debt, what the outstanding, whatever, 32 trillion, is the total amount of dollars issued by the federal government, sovereign nation of the United States of America since 1789, which has not been taken back in the form of taxes. So that 32 trillion is what we hold, is what we own. It's part of our financial wealth. It's not a debt. It's dollars that we hold. And we hold it in the form of government securities because they pay interest. And we don't owe it to anybody. It's ours. It belongs to us. And anyone who says we gotta pay that back means the government must take away 32 trillion, which would leave not only us, but the entire fucking world in a massive, massive depression. I'm done critiquing this video. Thanks for watching.